station, WTIM.
Welcome in to WTIM, your information station. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. Before we get going here with a great interview, we'd like to thank our sponsors that make it possible: People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. On the line today is Senator Steve McClure, representing Illinois' 54th District. Senator McClure, how are you today? Uh-oh. Senator McClure, do we got you? Something going on here, folks. Senator McClure, do we have you?
Yep, you got me now.
Oh, my goodness. So sorry about the technical difficulties. We can hear you now, Senator McClure. You're sounding great on our end. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Good to talk to you.
Good. Really good to speak to you here early in 2024. We're going to look into just about everything we can. We've been talking over the break. You've been spending some time at the Capitol here in Illinois. Tell me some of the things you've been doing over there.
So we were in session yesterday. Didn't really do much. And today we're scheduled to be in session. The rumor is that we're going to have tomorrow canceled. So that will be interesting. Our deadline for getting requests as far as new bills is this Friday. So everyone is scrambling to get their bills drafted, and then our deadline to file those bills is next month. In the meantime, you can't file it if you don't have it drafted. So everybody's scrambling to get their bills together. I've been getting quite a few bills together. And as I always like to say, the best bill ideas that I've received have come from constituents. And so I've got about 20 bills that we're looking at filing. I'm not sure I'm going to file 20 bills, but we're going to get them drafted and look at them and then talk to some of my local people to see, if some of these things are good ideas or bad ideas. And then at the end of the day, file what I think will potentially pass, but also be good legislation. So that's kind of what I'm involved in right now. And a lot of the talk at the Capitol is about the migrant crisis right now, especially with this cold weather dominating our state right now.
All right. So it sounds like you've been very busy over there, writing up the 20 different pieces of legislation right there. So been very busy. A lot of people scrambling. I want to get into the migrant conversation right there. But why would tomorrow be canceled? What's that rumor surrounding around?
Well, sometimes we get to Springfield and there isn't much that's ready to go. So, we've got nothing to vote on at the moment. And, sometimes committees meet, sometimes they don't. I suspect that this week was scheduled just to make sure that members were in Springfield to get their bills submitted to the people that draft legislation. And so now we're here and people can get their bills submitted, and the Democrats who are in charge of our schedule have decided that we don't need to be here all 3 days this week. We can take a day off. That being said, I think we should be here. And, the state legislature is not in this year as much as we've been in years past. And a lot of people, rightly criticize the legislature for not doing enough. At the same time, however, if we're not in tomorrow, less bad bills can potentially be out there. The more that we're in Springfield, the more people start to get crazy ideas about weird bills and stuff. And that can be a bad thing as well.
Okay, yeah, positives and negatives to not being in session for that day there. So thank you for explaining that one to us. So back to the migrant conversation that has been sparked all over Illinois in specifics. Tell us about that. Can you run us through that and where J.B. Pritzker falls into that, the governor of Illinois, and just explain this one to us?
Absolutely. So the governor of Texas has been busing and in some cases flying people that have come into our country that are seeking asylum. And the way the federal system works is that once a person claims asylum, they're given a court date to appear at some point in the future. And the date in which they are scheduled to appear is typically very far in advance. It's very, very far, a long ways out, I'll put it that way. And so in the meantime, all these people are here. And Texas has been dealing with people that are not just coming in to seek asylum. Texas has been dealing with people that are coming across the border in record numbers illegally. And so Texas has this huge influx of people, and they don't have the resources to deal with them. So they've decided to start shipping people into sanctuary states in sanctuary cities. And Governor Pritzker has been begging people to come here that are not citizens of our country ever since he's been in office. He has been a big proponent of welcome centers. He's been a proponent of non-citizens receiving full health care. And I'm talking health care in which they don't even have to pay co-pays. So totally free health insurance. And so he's been really begging people to come here and letting people know that if you come here and you're not here legally, he's going to make sure that, no one can call the police to report someone who's here violating federal immigration laws, et cetera. So he wants it to be a very welcoming place. So the governor of Texas said, well, Governor Pritzker wants us to be such a welcoming place, and he wants to be able to, pay for all these free services for citizens of other countries. Then why? That's a perfect place to ship these people that we don't have the resources to take care of at this time. And so they're all being shipped here. And now all of a sudden, Governor Pritzker says that we don't have the resources. And he sent a very snarky letter to the governor of Texas a few days ago that some of the newspapers I saw were covering it as this sincere plea from Governor Pritzker to stop the transfer of people that are non-citizens into our state, just so the cold weather can move past us. But the letter was very, very political. It was not really a true, sincere plea to the governor of Texas. It was more of a cheap political ploy for Governor Pritzker to try to gain some traction. Meanwhile, he sends the letter, and then Governor Pritzker goes to Iowa to campaign for Joe Biden. And so Governor Pritzker spent Monday in Iowa, and he made some national headlines touting, Joe Biden, who, let's face it, is responsible for this immigration crisis that we're facing right now. And so, Governor Pritzker is so concerned about these immigrants coming here that he wants to go to Iowa and spend his time in Iowa while supposedly we've got a crisis in the state of Illinois. So it's really a mess. And I would encourage Governor Pritzker, instead of going to campaign for Joe Biden, maybe call Joe Biden and say, President Biden, we don't have the resources in our state to deal with this massive influx of people coming to our country right now. Why don't you secure the border? And then why don't you try to deal with, at the federal level, immigration laws that are outdated and that are really poorly thought out, and get some changes made there. Instead, like I said, Governor Pritzker wants to just send political letters and then go campaign for Joe Biden and then tell the state Senate that he wants to, spend all kinds of new money for people that are citizens of other countries. And one of the big things that I've been dealing with lately is people are calling the office and saying, look, I'm paying copays on my own health care. I'm paying my taxes, and I'm disappointed with this area of our state government or this area in mental health services where we can't afford to do certain things. Where on earth are we going to get the money to support people that are not citizens of our country right now? And so it's kind of a mess, and Governor Pritzker seems to be totally out of touch with the people of Illinois.
It's quite a predicament Illinois is finding itself in right now. And with migrants receiving these benefits and healthcare and all that, it's interesting to see, will that be a permanent thing for migrants, or is that something that will be weaned off as they gain employment? What is the plan there?
There is no plan.
Okay.
And that's the problem. Governor Pritzker wants to create a permanently government dependent state where everybody is dependent upon the government. And that is a dangerous place to be, especially when a lot of these people are not citizens of our country. So there's no plan. And quite honestly, it's a humanitarian crisis because Governor Pritzker and the city of Chicago built these huge tents. We've got people sleeping in police stations and at the airport. And we had a child die in a bathroom. And so it's really, really sad. And, again, I don't think that the right thing to do is for Governor Pritzker to try to make political statements and take cheap shots. He's really ineffective here, and it's time for him to show some leadership. Unfortunately, he's just been trying to score political points for his Democratic friends.
All right, we're talking to Senator Steve McClure right now, representing the Illinois 54th District. We've been talking about the migrant crisis happening across Illinois here, and J.B. Pritzker's involvement in it all, and Senator Steve McClure has been breaking it down for us. We thank him for that. We thank him for taking the time with us today. It's time for us to take our first short little break, but when we come back, we will have more from Senator Steve McClure, the state senator of Illinois. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. We will be back in just a little bit.
Your information station, WTIM.
If you're looking for a healthcare provider that truly cares about you and your family's well-being, the SIU Center for Family Medicine is now accepting new patients. They're available to help you live your healthiest life. Regular checkups with a healthcare provider can be the key to a healthier you. Take charge of your health and join their caring community of patients. Call 217-824-1134 or click their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com to schedule your first appointment. At the SIU Center for Family Medicine, they're not just your healthcare providers, they're your partners in wellness.
Start your new year with a new you and a new bed from Just Beds. Just think how great you'll sleep with a new mattress, and at Just Beds, you'll find them on sale. From Sealy, Max Life, Chatham & Wells, Bemco, you name it, it's on sale. It's the new year, new you, new mattress sale with the Yawn Exterminators. It's out with the old and in with the new. With delivery in Holloway, find the gift of good slumber at Just Beds on Montvale.
Just Beds.
I'm Jeff Grimmett, Assistant Vice President at People's Bank and Trust in Taylorville. People's Bank and Trust is proud to sponsor Taylorville Junior High School Students of the Month on all of the WTIM platforms.
I'm Bella Allard, the 6th grade student of the month. My parents are Megan Allard and Nick Allard. School subject I enjoy include math because I like division. After high school, I'm considering to be a veterinarian as a career because I love animals.
Congratulations to these students on this honor from People's Bank and Trust. We put people first every day at People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Do you know what to do when a car is pulled over on the side of the road?
Get over!
First, reduce your speed. Second, change lanes if possible. Third, proceed with caution. These 3 simple steps can be the difference between life and death.
What if it's you that's on the side of the road? Do you want everybody to move over for you?
Do the right thing. Slow down, move over, and drive like your life and their life depends on it.
Taylorville's Bailey Park Adult Community is close to everything. It's a great place to downsize your lifestyle. Find out about available lots at the Bailey Park Adult Community by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation aims to foster, promote, and stimulate economic development. They're here to help your business grow. Find out more on the Shelby County Economic Development Corporation by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to WTIM, your information station. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. Today we are talking with Senator Steve McClure, representing Illinois' 54th District. And we'd like to thank our sponsors that make the show possible, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. That first half, we talked about Senator McClure's time at the Capitol and some of the conversations about the migrant issue happening in the sanctuary state and city of Illinois and Chicago. We're going to switch gears just a little bit here because, Senator McClure, you're going to have some visitors at the Capitol today, and this really involves the city of Taylorville. Tell us about this.
That's right. One of my favorite things that I get to do is to recognize the outstanding achievements of my constituents, and so we're going to have students and teachers and the principal that are involved with the Taylorville High School FFA chapter, and they won a national chapter award for the national premier chapter in the Strengthening Agricultural Division. And we've also, in addition to that award, we had several members won national awards. So these students are going to be here today, and I look forward to recognizing them in the Senate. They're also going to be recognized in the House. And so it's an exciting day for the students and staff. It's also an exciting day for myself and Representative Halbrook as we welcome them to the Capitol.
Wow, this is such an awesome day for the state and for the students over at Taylorville High School. Of course, we have a very close connection to those kiddos over there. But gosh, they worked so hard over at their FFA program. They were rewarded for all of their great efforts this year. And with all the seriousness and maybe sometimes doom and gloom of government workings, right? This feels like a very lighthearted and a great thing to focus on for the time being. You've already said this is one of your favorite things to do, but you see something like this come across your desk, it must be a nice thing to see.
It is a nice thing to see. One of the things that I take pride in is the fact that my staff goes through all of the newspapers locally and all of the counties I represent, and they find out little pieces for us to recognize for students or for people celebrating anniversaries or whatever. And so I love seeing that stuff, and that's one of the reasons why we have a youth advisory council every year as well, where we bring students from across the district to come to Springfield to have a big session. But it's to deal with leadership issues and to try to prepare our young people to be the leaders of the future. So it's wonderful to see what's been happening in Taylorville, because these students are already leaders and they're already showing great potential. And so to recognize that today will be a real honor.
So cool. Such a great honor for those students right there, and happy for them to continue their run of congratulations here, because just a great year it's been for that Taylorville FFA team. Now we're going to switch back gears over into the more governmental issues here. So because I've been reading things, Senator McClure, about a government shutdown. I heard it a couple of months ago. Now it feels like they passed through that one, and now we are dealing with it again. Can you explain this one to us?
Sure. We've got sort of at the federal level, this doesn't affect state government outside of the fact that obviously when the federal government shuts down, we lose resources in every way. But there's two deadlines coming up, one on January 19th and one on February 2nd. And so Congress has the obligation to act and to come to an agreement here, one by January 19th and then the second one by February 2nd. And if either one of those dates are come and go without an agreement, we're going to potentially see a full government shutdown or a partial government shutdown. And so all of us at the state level are certainly watching that and paying very close attention to that, because nobody wants there to be a federal government shutdown, especially right now, especially this time of year when people are dealing with all kinds of issues, weather that are weather related and everything else.
Yeah.
And so we're watching that very closely. I will say that just a statement. When a lot of people supported President Biden to take office, he was sort of touted as this great bipartisan person who was going to be this, incredible negotiator, an incredible politician who's going to do all these wonderful things in a bipartisan manner. We have yet to see that. And the partisanship that he's displayed has been very detrimental to the country. And if you look at right now, we've got, of course, a Senate at the national level that has the majority of Democrats, and we've got a House that, of course, has a majority of Republicans. This would be a perfect time for the president to actually show some leadership and bring people together. But he's pretty much been an afterthought, and I think the fact that he doesn't really show leadership on government shutdowns as well as the immigration issue, I think it's really telling. And that's not what most people that voted for Joe Biden thought they were going to get. But that's what we're seeing right now, unfortunately.
Interesting. So this is the federal level of a government shutdown, Senator Steve McClure. You explained it kind of right there that they're kind of leaving Biden out of the conversation a little bit. I mean, they aren't looking to him for partisanship, you're saying.
Well, he's not shown any leadership.
Yeah.
And that's and we're seeing that on every major issue. President Biden just sort of exists and sort of he's there. And it's very weird, number one, but it's also disappointing because that's not what, the American people were told when President Biden was running for office. They were, he was going to bridge the divide and to be this great bipartisan leader. And he's been an absolute disaster on so many different levels. And this is just another example. We shouldn't have to be dealing with these crises every few months for a government shutdown. He should take some initiative here, but he doesn't. And it's sort of similar to Governor Pritzker, because Governor Pritzker, it's almost when you talk to him about the migrant issue or about other issues, in one issue that is not a crisis, but
sorry, Senator, we are out of time. I really hate to cut you off. We were getting into it right
no
there.
problem.
But I appreciate you for taking the time today, Senator.
Always great to talk to you.
Yes, you as well. That was Senator Steve McClure of the 54th Illinois Senate District. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. Thank you all for listening.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
Cold weather. It was 11 degrees above zero in Atlanta, and there were some freezes in Florida. National Weather Service lead forecaster Bob Borovac says a new storm system is on the way.
There's going to be one more shot of really cold Arctic air that's